Welcome to InfoHub Recap, where we look at the past week's main issues. In our headlines, government to appeal the acting Chief Justice's ruling on the December 21 vote and is prepared to go all the way to the CCJ. In the interim, the work of the government continues. Finance Minister Jordan sees positive economic prospects from the Rural Agri-Development Program, and government officials conducting an outreach across Guyana and will be in Linden, Friedenhoop and Essequibo this weekend. These stories and more in this week's InfoHub Recap. On Monday, Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, in an exclusive interview with InfoHub, said the judiciary must be allowed to make its pronouncement on the constitutionality of the December 21 vote. Here's more.
I believe that we should allow the judiciary to make its pronouncements and not try to influence the direction in which that will go, and to abide by the consequences of the rulings.
The Prime Minister explained, we should have respect for the independence of the judiciary and respect for all the hierarchical structure of the judiciary. He noted that all persons must respect the process and not to bring it into the political arena.
The judiciary is independent, and that the judiciary has a role in the functions of the state. It is an important pillar of the state. And so rather than people trying to question whether the judicial process is important or not, we should have respect for the independence of the judiciary and respect for all the hierarchical structure of the judiciary.
Following the December 21 vote, the Supreme Court has been approached to determine whether the former government Member of Parliament, Charandas Prasad, was qualified to vote in the National Assembly. For InfoHub, Rebecca Ganesh.
As the 17th session of the United Nations Review of the Implementation of the Convention, CRIC 17, got underway, Minister of State Joseph Harmon said Guyana is fully committed to the protection and conservation of its national patrimony, including its land resources.
Addressing the opening of the 17th session of the Committee for the Review of the Implementation of the Convention at the Arthur Chung Convention Center, Minister Harmon said Guyana aspires to be a success story in the implementation of the UNCCD.
Guyana finds itself in a position of great strategic importance with regard to the climatic well-being of our planet. Located at the center of the Guyana Shield, a 270 million hectare ecoregion that has been described as the lungs of the earth. Our pristine rainforest is crucial to the carbon cleanup of the earth's atmosphere.
The state minister said evidence of the importance of Guyana's role as a partner in the global environmental movement can be seen in the many agreements entered into with countries such as the Kingdom of Norway, the Netherlands, Germany and Japan, as well as international organizations such as Conservation International for the conservation of the forests. Executive Secretary of the UNCCD, Monique Barbot, said that the possibility of achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal is well within reach.
We therefore have a deep appreciation for our unique position and the crucial nature of our responsibility in relation to the preservation of our land cover.
During the three-day conference, delegates will conduct interactive dialogues on the Gender Action Plan as a tool to improve the living conditions of the people affected by land degradation, new and innovative resources to finance initiatives to combat land degradation, and the progress towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goal target. Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
Meanwhile, some 180 members and stakeholders from 30 countries were in the country for the Caribbean Association of National Telecommunications Organizations, Canto's 35th Annual General Meeting and Mini Expo. The event officially opened on January 27 at the Guyana Marriott Hotel, Kingston, Georgetown. Details in this report.
In her feature address at the opening, Minister of Public Telecommunication Catherine Hughes acknowledged the role that Kanto played in facilitating the process of bringing together regional telecommunications operators. Minister Hughes also mentioned several initiatives that the government of Guyana has been pushing to position Guyana as an ICT hub in the Caribbean.
The industries that we so far have depended on as a region for so many years no longer have the scope or the functional capacity that we require to support our national and economic development requirements. It is not lost on us that we must diversify quickly, and most importantly, diversify into those sectors and industries that will make the most use of our intellectual capacities. But most importantly, that will provide an opportunity for real economic transformation. A strong digital agenda in each of our countries allows us to do just that.
Outgoing Chairman of Kanto, Julian Wilkins, provided an overview of some achievements over the past 3 years, with one of its main focus on partnerships and inclusivity.
Kanto is very keen on all stakeholders within the ICT environment. Our mission has evolved over the years by focusing more on inclusiveness, that is, embracing all ICT members. We advocate on key issues of the day more often than we did in the past, and we try to create an environment that encourages investment and innovation.
GT&T's CEO Justin Ned said the telephone company over the past 28 years has played its role in bringing the Guyanese population into the digital age.
From the time of privatization in 1991, it's almost 28 years ago, where the company started with 6,000 landline services. Today we are at almost 60,000 homes passed with fiber, 140,000 landlines, and almost 300,000 mobile connections in 3G and LTE. So I believe that the role of GTT is not done, and I believe that working with Kanto, we can move the region forward.
Kanto is the leading trade association of information and communication technology, ICT, in the Caribbean. One of its founding members, the Guyana Telephone and Telegraph Company, along with the Ministry of Public Telecommunications and CARICOM, facilitated the hosting of the meeting in Guyana. Some of the technological advancements in Guyana were on display by GT&T and its partner, Intellect, and other companies participating in the meeting. Seneca Thorne, InfoHub.
The judiciary of Guyana received 10 digital court recordings from the Government of Canada and the Judicial Reform and Institution Strengthening Project at a handing over ceremony at the Pegasus Hotel, Guyana. Rebecca Ganish reports.
Justice Yonet Cummins Edwards, Chancellor of the Judiciary of Guyana acting, thanked the stakeholders for the equipment and said that this will make the works of the courts more efficient and less time-consuming.
We have to advance, and we have to embrace change, which brings benefits. We have started the transitioning to digital recording of proceedings in our court. And Juris Project has invested time and resources to that process. And to this end, they have donated 10 recording units to the Supreme Court.
High Commissioner of Canada to Guyana, Lillian Chatterjee, related that Canada is proud to partner with the Juris Project to aid Guyana's judicial system.
Canada has been a long-time supporter for justice sector initiatives in Guyana. Previously, we partnered with the Chancellor for the establishment of the Family Court and the establishment of the model guidelines for sexual offenses cases in the Caribbean. Currently, in addition to the Juris Project we are celebrating today, Canada is also supporting the Improved Access to Justice in the Caribbean Project, known to you as Impact Justice.
The Juris project commenced activities on April 1, 2014 and is collaborating with judiciaries in the region to support their own efforts to improve court administration and strengthen the abilities of the courts and the judiciary to resolve cases efficiently and fairly. For InfoHub, Rebecca Ganesh.
The government is assuring that the works to modernize the Chedijagan International Airport are moving apace and will be completed by March 31, even as its current contract with China Harboring Engineering Company will not be extended.
The initial deadline of the CJIA expansion project was December 31st, 2018, and according to the Minister of Public Infrastructure, David Patterson, the government will hold China Harbour Engineering Company Limited to this deadline. He says at this time the contract has entered the penalty state. The minister made the revelation today as he took the media on a tour of the CJIA expansion project.
We have not granted an extension of time after December the 31st, 2018. In our opinion, we felt that out of the contractor did not have adequate resources coming on to the end to ensure that he meets his contractual obligation. So there are penalties in the contract. We are in the penalty phase, and so it's the contractor's obligation for him to finish the project. So we have said and we've indicated the 31st of December is our contract date, and any works after that, the contractor is responsible.
Minister Patterson says March 31st, 2019 is the new completion date for the project. So far, 92% of the work have been completed.
The contractor has submitted a revised schedule. He said that he'll be finished by the 31st of March. We've just noted that, because, as you said, the contract period has not been extended. And that's where we will provide. That's how we will proceed.
Outstanding works to be completed include the southwest runway expansion, pavement works, and sections of the departure terminal, namely immigration security screening and duty-free concessions area. Reporting for InfoHub, Felicia Valenzuela.
The Mashramani All-Stars concert on Saturday evening left residents of Lethem and surrounding communities wanting more of its spectacular performances. Here's that report.
Hosted by the Ministry of Presidency, Department of Social Cohesion at the Tapatinga Sports Complex ground, the show featured artists like Michelle Big Red King, Jomo Rubberways Primo, Melissa Vanilla Roberts, reigning Soca Monarch Branding Harding, and reigning Chutney Monarch Bounty Singh and Kwesi Ace, among others. The performers captured the audience with their boundless energy and catchy songs. Minister of Social Cohesion Dr. George Norton said the decision to host the show in Lethem was aimed at ensuring nationwide inclusion in the Mashramani festivities.
We had activities in Region 1, in Region 2, in Region 6, in Region 5, and Region 9 here tonight. This is the idea, to take the celebrations to the different regions so you can all be part and parcel of what everybody's enjoying in Guyana. We look forward to seeing you in the capital city.
Regional Chairman Brian Allicock said he's satisfied with the support shown by the residents.
I'm happy with the crowd. We have some neighbors from Brazil too. They are here, the Brazilians they came across. And we have some Guyanese living over there, so they come across for this event. And they're here. Some people from the villages, they came out, and I'm happy of the turnout here tonight. And I know everybody's enjoying themselves.
As the Mashramani activities continues across the country, persons are invited to attend the Banks Calypso semi-finals at the Union No. 53 Village Community Center, the Carib Soca Monarch semi-finals at the Linden Georgetown Municipal Bus Park, and the Chutney Dance Competition in Region 3. Neola Dimon, InfoHub.
On Tuesday, Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu said he is satisfied with the expression of support received from the Alliance for Change for President David Granger and himself as the team to take Guyana forward. More in this report.
And so it is important at this time for the party from which I have come, the Alliance for Change, to express confidence in their Prime Minister. The conference feel that the government has done nothing wrong to bring itself down. It was betrayed, and that it is now prepared to go to the Guyanese people with renewed confidence that we are going to go forward.
Additionally, Nagamutu explained that the APNU plus AFC government in 2015 received the support of more than 206,000 Guyanese people.
We have not betrayed our constituents. We have done nothing that would have curtailed our mandate. This government was brought down by a single act of treachery, by someone who crossed the floor, someone who betrayed the voters.
Prime Minister Nagamutu also noted that President David Granger has brought integrity to the governance of the country and believes that the Guyanese people deserve this form of leadership that is strong, matured, and experienced. For InfoHub, Rebecca Ganesh.
A multi-stakeholder team was deployed to Iterengbang, Kayuni Mazaruni, Region 7, to access the number of undocumented Guyanese returning from Venezuela. We tell you more in this report.
The outreach, which commenced on Friday, comprised of representatives from the General Register's Office, the Ministry of Social Protection, Civil Defense Commission, Immigration, the Guyana Police Force, and the Guyana Defense Force. According to Acting Civil Defense Commission Director General Lieutenant Colonel Kester Craig, the decision to conduct an assessment of the area was taken after a report was sent to the National Multi-Sectorial Coordinating Committee.
We received a report coming to the committee which indicates that there are a number of undocumented migrants in Iterengbang area. So that report actually drove a establishment of a multi-stakeholders team to come and assess the situation.
The team carried out the assessment at Iterengbang Landing, Arau, and its environs. It was noted that while there were 95 Guyanese in need of documentation, approximately 340 applications were made. The majority of these were late applications. A definite timeline was not given for the completion of the registration process, as the information would have to be manually verified.
All the information that was collected will be taken back to Georgetown, where they will do a verification process, search all the records to ensure that the person that made certain requests for late registration, for new registration and other documentation, that some of the information is within the system before providing the birth certificates.
The outreach also assessed persons eligible for benefits such as old age pension. A total of 7 persons were identified as being eligible. In addition, the Civil Defense Commission distributed a total of 266 sanitary kits to migrants. The items were donated by the Jesus Christ Church of Latter-day Saints.
Moving on to Wednesday. During his Facebook Live, Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu said, following the Chief Justice's ruling on January 31 on a number of cases that were before the court, the works of the government will continue and peace be maintained. More in this report.
Nothing happens tomorrow that will disturb the peace. Nothing will happen tomorrow that will disturb the work of government and the maintenance of law and order.
After the December 21 vote, the Parliament had deemed that the motion was carried, and the Speaker explained that he has doubts as to the requirements under the Constitution, Prime Minister noted. In these circumstances, Prime Minister Nagamutu stated either side, the government or the opposition, would use every opportunity to take this matter further down the road to ensure justice is done completely and fully.
This is an unprecedented development for Guyana, to have a vote of no confidence filed in the National Assembly, and on a slender one-seat majority, the Parliament had deemed that the motion was carried, and the Speaker had said that he had doubts whether that was the requirement under the Constitution, what is called the need for an absolute majority. Therefore, we expect to see that the government will continue in office, will continue to discharge its functions. The leader of the opposition agreed with the president that the government remains in place and that 100%, he said, and Parliament is open and the work of the state continues.
For InfoHub, Rebecca Ganesh.
Residents in Region 1 will no longer have to travel outside of their region to access the services of the Guyana Revenue Authority, GRA, as a tax office has been opened in the town of Mabaruma. Anara Khan has that report.
The Integrated Regional Tax Office was officially commissioned by Finance Minister Winston Jordan in the presence of Commissioner General of the Guyana Revenue Authority, Godfrey Stacia, Region 1 Regional Chairman Brentnall Ashley, the Mayor of Mabaruma, Chris Pang, and other public officials. During brief remarks, Minister Jordan said the government has embarked on a mission to improve the operations of the Guyana Revenue Authority and simplify the tax administration system.
Our aim is to strengthen tax policies, to broaden the tax base, and combat tax evasion and avoidance so that the tax rate can be set at optimal levels. This objective is also important for this government in its pursuit to provide the good life for all Guyanese.
GRA Commissioner General Godfrey Stacia assured residents services will be delivered.
We plan to do our bit here, and we know that the region will also do their bit. We've been told that taxes is an investment in their country's progress. As you could see your tax dollars at work, I'm not a politician. This is what the minister would tell you that when he speaks. But all I would like to assure you is that we at the GRA would ensure that you get the services that you deserve, and we hope that you would contribute to the taxes as you earn.
The opening of the Mabaruma office comes one day after the Guyana Revenue Authority would have celebrated 19 years of operation. For InfoHub, Anara Khan.
On Thursday, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams announced that the government will be filing its case at the Court of Appeal following the recent ruling by Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George. Details in this report.
It's just another day in the life of the courts. And the ruling of the Chief Justice is stage one. We had said that they needed to have 34 votes and not 33. And why is that? It's because you require an absolute majority, what we call an absolute majority, as against a simple majority. The simple majority is 33.
Following the Chief Justice ruling today, the Attorney General explained that absolute majority is stronger than the simple majority in the 65-member Parliament, and therefore
33 cannot be the same vote for the absolute majority. And in any event, we are talking about a Parliament with 65. It's an odd number Parliament, and the cases show when you have an odd number Parliament, to get the majority, you divide it by half plus 1. And when you divide 65 by half, you get a fraction. And since there are no half human beings, you have to round up the fraction to the next whole number.
The Attorney General said that the government is confident that they have a strong case to move forward.
And just as happened in Cedric Richardson, where we went on appeal to the Court of Appeal, and then from the Court of Appeal to the CCJ where we won it, and stop Jacques Diop from saying that he could have a third term, we're going all the way again. All right? So that's what I want to say. And there's no need to weep and gnash teeth. Our courts are a hierarchical system. Our final court is the CCJ. So, like in the GCOM chair, when Nandala them lost, that they appealed to the Court of Appeal. So it's all part of the process. So nothing is over until the CCJ makes the final determination.
The Chief Justice will give the judgment on Wednesday, February 6th, so that the government can prepare its appeal. Seneca Thorne, InfoHub.
Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu says government officials have embarked on a number of countrywide outreaches to fully brief citizens on what's happening. Rebecca Ganesh has the details.
There is a fan-out exercise by government officials. During this week, a group of ministers will fan out into the Rupununi, into the deep south of our country, to touch base with our Guyanese citizens, mostly or citizens of indigenous origins, and they will inform them, fully brief them as to what is happening in their state, the state of Guyana.
Ministers of government began their outreaches on January 25th at Border Market and continued on January 30th at the Stabroek Market Square, where they interacted with citizens and vendors to learn of some of the issues affecting their daily lives.
So all over Guyana, whether it is quarantine, whether it's West Berbice, West Demerara, Essequibo Coast, Essequibo Islands, the Rupununi, and other parts of the hinterland, your government is there providing you information, providing you services, and make sure that our country continues to make the incredible progress it has been making over these last few years. And so we want to assure you that we are continuing the work for which we have been elected.
Prime Minister Nagamutu, along with Noel Holder, Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson, and Minister of Communities Ronald Bulkan will be in Essequibo tomorrow to meet with residents. For InfoHub, Rebecca Ganesh.
The Rural Agricultural Infrastructure Development, the RAID project, is finally taking root in Ithaca, as farmers anticipate significant returns and contributions to Guyana's agriculture sector. Here's more.
Finance Minister Winston Jordan and Agriculture Minister Noel Holder spearheaded a visit to farmlands in Ithaca, where 150 acres of fertile land is receiving infrastructural improvements under the RAID project. Minister Jordan said that of the 4 East Coast areas identified for interventions under the project, Ithaca had experienced many challenges. Nevertheless, today farmers and residents interested in farming can now access these lands. As an incentive, farmers receive seedlings for crops.
Ithaca is a bit of a troublesome of the lot, and paid quite a bit of attention to it to make certain that we are where we are today. And I'm happy that significant progress has been made on this part of the project, to the extent that we could be handing over seedlings and coconut and so on. Food is going to be important, far more important than oil. And to the extent that we could put people back on the land, and we can continue to give them support, whether it's the marketing, the agri-extension and so on, we will commit to provide both of those so that the farming can be viable.
Cash crop farmer Ruleu Redok, who has been farming for more than 15 years, says that the RAID project means a lot to farmers in the area. He also supports the vision of sustainability and hopes to see it being replicated in other areas of agriculture.
One of the main challenges that worried me was marketing. But now we get to understand that all that will be addressed. And secondly, produce from farm to market was another problem today, especially now in the weather condition. And we also raised that issue with the minister, and he said that will be addressed also.
The Rural Agricultural Infrastructure Development Project, RAID, is a $12 million loan project made possible by the Government of Guyana and the CARICOM Development Fund. The initiative ensures sustainable farming in communities where there has been the construction of secondary drainage and irrigation canals and hydraulic structures, rehabilitation of access dams, clearing of land, and the establishment of pasture land and farm plots. Reporting for InfoHub, Felicia Valenzuela.
The Ministry of Public Telecommunications continues to fulfill its promise to enhance access to the Internet as a new ICT hub was commissioned at the West Rheinveld David Rose Center. Ayana George has that story.
Addressing the gathering at the commissioning ceremony, Minister of Public Telecommunications Catherine Hughes said the government is committed to providing communities across Guyana with access to high-quality ICT infrastructure that will provide members of the community with access to online government services and assist students and other persons engaged in academic pursuits.
Today we are opening the 172nd. We have opened 172 ICT hubs across the length and breadth of Guyana. Oh my, y'all give me a clap for that, huh? And really, this is our commitment as a government to reaching out to communities and giving you the tools that will make it possible for you to grow.
The minister also assured that training will be made available through her ministry.
I'm happy to announce that we have agreement with the Department of Youth and Sport and also with STEM Guyana. And working together, we're going to be able to get to more places and do training. And that training could be how to use the computer, how to use the laptops. We've done some training in website designing. We've done training in coding, how the computer really works.
Minister Hughes also highlighted the ICT Hub contains over 100 soft copies of textbooks from the Ministry of Education aimed to assist students with their homework and research. One happy parent related to InfoHub how delighted she was with the opening of the ICT Hub in the West Rumveld community.
I would encourage other children to come out in the afternoon to learn about the computer because, you know, in times to come, everyone will have to know about like computer technology. So I would encourage other children in our area to come out at the hub at David Rose.
Reporting for InfoHub, Ayana George.
Notwithstanding the ruling of the December 21 vote by the acting Chief Justice Roxanne George in the High Court on Thursday, the administration still stands. This is according to Minister of Public Security Kemraj Ramjatan and Minister of Communities Ronald Burkhan. Details in this report.
During an appearance on the National Communication Network's televised Context program, both ministers said that it is not the end of the road and that the decision handed down by the acting Chief Justice was the first step in a three-stage legal process.
You have every right to access right up to the final court, namely the CCJ, before we can now both parties settle on this thing. On the first round, we don't know who win the fight yet. We are saying that although it is her judgment on this matter that says that a threshold was not arrived at, we are of the opinion now that since you have a higher court that can reverse her, okay, we go to that court.
Meanwhile, Minister Bulkin refuted the narrative being peddled, especially by the political opposition, that the administration was defeated by a vote of no confidence.
My understanding is, well, that the court is, as we heard from Kemraj a moment ago, that the court is hierarchical. So what we've had today is the first round, or the first phase, if you will, of a three-stage process. No doubt, the decision that has been given by the Honorable Chief Justice, sitting in the capacity of the High Court, it's the first stage. My understanding is that the next steps would be an appeal to the Court of Appeal, and then our final appellate jurisdiction, which is the CCJ. So I am clear in my mind as to the constitutionality of the government.
The government will be asking for expeditiousness in the hearing of this case at the level of the appeal court. Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
On Friday, Minister of Finance Winston Jordan said the economic prospects are good for farmers in Maka and the East Bank of Demerara who are part of the Rural Agriculture Infrastructure Development, the RAID program. Details from Alexis Rodney.
Continuing on a series of visits to communities financed by the Rural Infrastructural Development Program, Minister Jordan today visited the East Bank Demerara village of Maka to deliver some plans and see the advancement made on the project.
I'm very pleased with the progress made so far, and I'm very pleased to have met a number of the farmers and a number of the villagers. We are going to see to what extent challenges that they continue to have, we're going to see to what extent in this budget we can assist them.
The RAID program is a $318.6 million Caribbean Development Fund project aimed at fostering growth in the agricultural sector. Minister Jordan said that the government wants to see the project replicated.
I like some of the ideas that are coming out. They're thinking forward about preservation of fruit, putting up a processing plant, and so on. So those are good ideas that we can work with. Overall, though, I'm quite happy with what I've seen here, and I'm enthused that the farmers themselves can see a sustainable living out of agriculture.
The Agricultural Sector Development Unit has distributed some 1,200 coconut seedling and 2,402 citrus plants to over 24 farmers. A weekly delivery schedule is maintained and will conclude by the end of March. Communities such as Maka, Buxton, Triumph and Ithaca have been identified for urgent intervention as residents over the last 30 years have been experiencing extreme flooding of farmlands due to poor drainage systems. Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
By the end of 2019, the mining town of Linden should have its own branch of a mining school. This mandate has been given by the Minister of Natural Resources, Raphael Trotman, as he delivered a feature address at the launching of the Mineral Prospect and Map Reading Level 1 course at the Linden Technical Institute. Felicia Valenzuela has our final report.
I am mandating the chairman of the mining school and the director of the mining school to ensure that there is a branch of the mining school established in Linden before the end of 2019.
Minister Trotman says the school will not replace the Linden Technical Institute, but rather work alongside it to ensure youths gain the required knowledge to further develop Guyana's mining sector.
That branch is not to replace, Madam Principal, the Technical Institute, but to come alongside it, to offer courses that will strengthen you, and you on the other hand may offer some courses to the mining school to strengthen it. So this is going to be a partnership. I believe that the space is available. Mr. Betchun, you're right. The facilities are there. The resources are certainly...
Approximately 120 young people were interviewed for the Mineral Prospects and Map Reading Level 1 course. However, only 75 could be accepted for the first batch. Minister Trotman told the young people gathered that government was here to serve them.
The government of Guyana is not doing you a favor. Don't believe that I'm here to tell you, or any member of parliament or any regional chairman or mayor, that we are doing you a favor. It is our duty as a government to prepare you for tomorrow. In fact, when we don't do so, we are failing in our duty. So, it is not that you are here because you are a chosen few and you are going to go on to greater heights and we expect certain things of you. Yes, we expect certain things of you. But as I said, we are here to serve you, to take care of you, to build you into that man and woman that you want to be, so that you can take your rightful place in our society.
The course is expected to run from January 31st to February 22nd, 2019. It will cover topics on operational safety and health, mining and environmental regulations, applying for exploration and mining permits, mineralization and topographic map interpretations, use of navigation instruments, and basic mineral prospecting. The course has 2 levels of certification. Reporting for InfoHub, Felicia Valenzuela.
This has been InfoHub Recap, where we highlighted the past week's main stories. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.